happy Saturday morning, everyone. Welcome to May. We are finally in the month of May. Welcome to May, everyone. It is May 1st, 2021. And happy Saturday, and welcome to this Saturday edition of The Morning Show with Riley King. I'm Riley King. It's time to rise and shine and get this Saturday off to a good start. Well, we have a little bit of everything for you in this program. So sit back, relax, grab that cup of coffee, and enjoy this Saturday morning edition of The Morning Show with Riley King. Good cup of coffee there. Let's begin right now. First up, at least 4 Americans among 45 killed in a stampede in Israel. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Introducing Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer. It has 0 grams of sugar and is USD.
We move overseas tonight in the horrific scene in Israel. We're now learning several Americans were among the dozens killed when a panic-driven stampede erupted during a religious festival. The event was expected to draw a crowd of 10,000, but authorities believe more than 10 times that number turned out. Here's ABC's foreign correspondent, James Longman.
The joyful religious celebration of a revered 2nd century rabbi turned into one of Israel's worst ever tragedies in an instant. Young children are among at least 45 people killed and more than 150 injured in a stampede. And tonight, the Israeli consulate says at least 4 Americans were killed in the crush. One of them, 19-year-old Donnie Morris from New Jersey. His uncle, a local rabbi. He was studying in Israel for the year on a GAP program. Watch as some managed to escape the mayhem while paramedics scramble to reach those trapped inside. Children evacuated, but the dead lined up nearby. What triggered the panic? Still unclear.
It was in a small corridor area where a lot of people had crowded in and they couldn't find a way out. And once the panic started, there was no controlling it.
The Lag BaOmer festival usually attracts over 300,000 people, but because of COVID, authorities had asked people to stay away. They'd expected 10,000, 100,000 arrived. The site, remote and unprepared. Barricades to ensure social distancing ended up fencing people in. Prime Minister Netanyahu visited the site this morning. He was met with anger by a community who feel the police were slow to react. President Biden told Netanyahu that he was heartbroken and that, quote, "We will stand with our friends. There'll be a day of national mourning this Sunday." Lindsay?
James, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Army finds Vanessa Guillen was sexually harassed by a supervisor. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
You want anything?
No, I'm good, babe.
Can I get a quarter pounder with cheese? Make that too? Thank you.
The Army's long-awaited report into the death of Vanessa Guillen in Texas. Investigators say she was sexually harassed by a supervisor at Fort Hood, and military leaders ignored her allegations. The harassment is not linked to her murder, but the report also reveals new details about her suspected killer as well. Here's ABC's Stephanie Ramos.
Tonight, the Army's long-awaited report into Specialist Vanessa Guillen's disappearance and murder, finding that she had indeed been sexually harassed by a superior, as her family has insisted from the start. The Army admitting they failed. In that nearly 300-page report, the Army revealing the 20-year-old was sexually harassed by that superior at Fort Hood on 2 separate occasions. Her mother, Gloria, remembering a conversation the two had months before she went missing.
A mí me
está acosando sexualmente a un sargento. Le dije, no, mija, es que eso no puede ser, mija. ¿Cómo a ese grado? Dijo, sí, mami, y se le salieron sus lagrimitas así.
Army investigators saying the harassment had no link to Guillen's murder, allegedly by specialist Aaron Robinson. The report detailing how when investigators closed in on Robinson last June, poor communication by criminal investigators with enlisted soldiers enabled Robinson to flee their custody. He later killed himself. The Army, however, saying that while Robinson did harass a different soldier, they found no credible evidence to conclude he had harassed Guillen or had any relationship with her outside of work.
We, as an Army, failed to protect Specialist Guillen.
Today, a total of 21 soldiers, including some senior officers in her brigade, have been disciplined. And on the 1-year anniversary of Guillen's death, her family at the Capitol.
These tears that are coming out of my eyes are a sadness, but mostly a frustration, because a year later, nothing has been done.
Stephanie Ramos joins us now live. And Stephanie, what are we hearing from the lawyer for Vanessa Guillen's family after that Army report?
Well, Lindsay, the Guillen family attorney is criticizing the report, but says it illustrates just how badly Vanessa's disappearance and murder were mishandled. The attorney says this is exactly why the Vanessa Guillen bill needs to be passed in Congress in order to protect other service members. For instance, if the bill is passed, sexual harassment would be criminalized under military law. Lindsay?
Stephanie, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. U.S. announces a travel ban on most non-citizens from India. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Aficionado. I'm a fashionista.
Sneakerhead. Med.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us on this Friday. I'm Lindsay Davis, in for David. We begin tonight with two very different headlines about the pandemic in America. While the U.S. is showing more positive signs that it's nearing a turning point, today the White House is issuing a travel ban on India, hoping to prevent the crippling COVID surge there from making its way here. India is setting a new global record for COVID cases in a single day, a variant spreading in that country now detected here in the U.S. First American planes carrying medical supplies arriving today, with more flights on the way. Meanwhile, a major milestone. The CDC says more than 100 million adults are now fully vaccinated against COVID-19. That's nearly 40% of all adults in the U.S. More states and cities easing restrictions, with COVID cases, deaths, and hospitalizations all declining in much of the country. The CDC director sounding optimistic, but also warning, quote, "This virus has tricked us before." ABC's Kaylee Hartung leads us off from Los Angeles.
Tonight, with Americans eager to turn the corner on the pandemic, the U.S. announcing a new travel ban on most non-U.S. citizens coming from India, starting Tuesday. The White House citing extraordinarily high COVID-19 caseloads and multiple variants circulating in India.
What's your own sense of that for people who have family and loved ones there? People are worried. No question, people are worried.
The virus crippling India's healthcare system, killing 3,500 people in just the last 24 hours. The first American planes carrying desperately needed supplies, including oxygen, arriving in India today. Here at home, health officials in Michigan and Tennessee identifying 2 cases of a variant now spreading quickly in India. One person had recently returned from a trip there.
The virus knows no boundaries, knows no borders. Variants and emerging threats could come to us from anywhere in the world at any point in time.
But right now, the CDC does not list this strain first found in India as a variant of concern. It comes as the U.S. hits a new milestone in the fight against the virus. 100 million Americans now fully vaccinated.
I think we can confidently say the worst is behind us. Barring some crazy, unforeseen variant that none of us are expecting to happen, we will not see the kinds of sufferings and death that we have seen over the holidays. I think we are in a much better shape heading forward.
And tonight, new signs of life feeling closer to normal. The vaccination site at Disneyland shutting down. And today, the park welcoming back California residents for the first time in over a year, including the Beigel family.
And I walked in, and it's just, I'm home. This place and the 5 of us all together today is something we were afraid would never happen again.
California theme parks limited to 25% capacity. Disneyland, which is owned by ABC's parent company, reopening with masks required, temperature screenings, cashless transactions, markers, and plexiglass to help with physical distancing. California among 23 states seeing cases fall over the past week, but the demand for vaccines is slipping. From New Jersey to New Orleans, a foot race to get shots into arms.
And Kaylee joins us now from Dodger Stadium, where officials are planning to shut down the mass vaccination site next month as demand has dropped by 50% in Los Angeles. And Kaylee, news today about a mask mandate for travelers. Tell us about that.
Well, Lindsay, the TSA says the mandate that requires travelers to wear face coverings on planes, trains, and buses, it was set to expire on May 11th, but it has been extended to September 13th, and that includes people who are fully vaccinated. Lindsay?
Travelers will have to keep those masks on a little longer. Kaylee, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. We're going to switch gears now, and let's go into weather. And let's take a look at the weather across the United States for all of you for this Saturday. In Boston, it'll be 63 degrees. New York, 67 degrees. Washington, D.C., 69 degrees. Atlanta, 80 degrees. Jacksonville, Florida, 83 degrees. Tampa Bay, Florida, 91 degrees. And Miami, Florida, 85 degrees. In Dallas, 71 degrees. Phoenix, 99 degrees. Las Vegas, 96 degrees. Los Angeles, 78 degrees. And San Francisco, 61 degrees. That is a look at the weather across the United States for all of you for this Saturday. Happy Saturday and welcome to May. And let's switch gears now. And we're going to talk about Disneyland reopens after more than a year. Let's take a look at that video right now.
Another sign of America reopening. Disneyland is welcoming California residents back today after being shut down for more than a year. And we got to look inside what visitors can expect. Kaylee Hartung is there with all the details. Good morning, Kaylee.
Hey, good morning, Cecilia. In the park's nearly 66 years. This is the longest it's ever been shut down. Now the lights are back on in Walt's original Magic Kingdom. The sights and the sounds haven't changed, but there are some new guidelines in place to help keep visitors safe. This morning, for residents of California, the gates are reopening to the happiest place on earth.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
GMA getting a look inside just before the historic day.
You're still going to feel that same Disney magic. But of course, we've been preparing.
Temperature screenings, cashless transactions, and markers and plexiglass to assist with physical distancing.
Even the characters have to maintain a safe distance.
But about those lines, you might not have to wait long. All of California's theme parks are limited to 25% capacity.
We've been consistent on making sure that we are adhering to all government guidelines.
Disneyland's parking lot transformed into a vaccination site in January. That site shutting down today, just as park-goers arrive.
We're back!
Gerard Voliegas is one of the local healthcare workers invited for early admission.
Feels like it's finally almost coming back to normal. It's nice to see that we can be outside and be safe.
Disneyland and Disney's California Adventure Park now ready to greet guests with some new surprises.
Did you know that they reimagined Snow White's rides? This is like the best thing we've had in a really long time. We can't stop crying. Yeah, the magic is back.
And usually when you see us reporting in the field, we're not wearing our masks on TV. We keep them in our hands because we're at a safe distance from everyone around us. But at Disneyland, the rules are so strict, we've got to keep these masks on at all times. That's the case for anyone visiting. Unless, of course, you're enjoying a Dole Whip or a churro, then you can sit in one of the designated areas to do that and take the mask off. Cecilia?
You love those churros. Okay, Kaylee, so this is going to make a lot of people excited knowing they can get back to Disneyland. Give us the tips. What do you have to know? What do you have to do in order to be able to get in the park?
Yeah, so if you're a California resident, go online. You need to make a reservation and buy a ticket in advance. And once you get in the park, let me say, keep your cell phone close so you can take those selfies with the characters and use those cashless transaction options if you want to take some ears home. This is my first trip to Disneyland. For a California girl like yourself, Cecilia, that might be hard to believe. But it is my first trip, and it is just as magical as I hoped it would be, and I'll take these home as a souvenir. Guys.
Well, enjoy. Go get on Space Mountain, Kaylee. Thank you.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here.
Okay, there you go. Very cool indeed. Back open. Cool, cool, cool. And we're gonna switch gears now. Let's go into entertainment news. First up in entertainment news. Happy anniversary to Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos. Let's take a look at that video right now.
Whales are some of the most intelligent animals that live on...
I fell in love with Mark the day I met him. The day I met him, I just knew.
You look beautiful. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm. Are you?
Yeah, I was born ready for this.
It's so weird when you're here because I just saw you at home. We used to think we were fashion forward, and it turns out we weren't, but I still think we were for the time.
I don't think you've said the word I'm sorry to me ever.
I've never done anything wrong.
That's right. I didn't think I had a chance with this one.
I'm happy with the way it turned out.
Well.
It's not too late for couples therapy.
No.
Happy anniversary to them. We hope they have a great anniversary. Why, Prince Harry wishes he could have stayed in London longer after Prince Philip's funeral. Let's take a listen to that video from Entertainment Tonight.
Prince Harry is back in California following his grandfather Prince Philip's funeral. But now a source close to the royal tells ET he would have liked to stay in the UK longer.
The Sussexes, I think, feel very far away from us over here in the UK. They're in LA now that they're based in the US, and I think we're seeing quite a distinction here between the Cambridges really flying the flag for the royal family and the Sussexes creating a new life for themselves in LA.
The source explains that while the 36-year-old is grateful he was able to spend some time in London, he, quote, wished he'd been able to stay a bit longer.
I know that Prince Harry was very nervous ahead of coming over to the UK for the funeral. Of course, this was the first time that he had seen members of his family in over a year. And I think it very much was the case that he got the cold shoulder from some members of the family, not his father, not his brother, and not the Duchess of Cambridge.
And despite the reports that some interactions with his family were cold, the source tells ET he welcomed the opportunity to reconnect, especially since COVID has prevented him and his wife Meghan Markle from traveling to the UK over the last year.
The talk at the palace is that they are absolutely horrified by what has been said. They feel that Harry has literally thrown the family under a bus.
Of course, the Duke of Sussex's trip to the UK comes on the heels of a reported falling out between Harry and his older brother, Prince William, after Harry and Meghan's bombshell interview with Oprah Winfrey.
Things were not going to be resolved in one or two family meetings. So while this has been an important step, there's clearly still a lot of hurt, a lot of resentment, and a degree of mistrust, I think, on both parts.
ET's source says Harry and William have been working on the commemoration to their mother, Princess Diana, scheduled for later this summer on what would have been her 60th birthday in July. The source adds that while relationships were raw in the aftermath of the Oprah interview, both brothers remain fully committed to carrying on Diana's legacy jointly.
I think the hope is that come July, when we are hoping to see the brothers stand once again shoulder by shoulder to unveil the statue in memory of their mother, that the relationship will be stronger and in a better place.
Earlier this week, the palace announced that Princess Diana's 1981 wedding gown is set to go on display at Kensington Palace in London this summer. The gown, which was designed by Elizabeth and David Emanuel, was worn by Diana during her wedding to Prince Charles.
With Diana, she chose us because she was used to the designs that we did. She liked them, felt comfortable.
The dress is now owned by William and Harry, who have loaned it to the HRP for the exhibit. The brothers are also planning to unveil a statue of their mother at Kensington Palace this summer in honor of what would have been her milestone 60th birthday.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Thank you for joining us for this Saturday edition of The Morning Show with Riley King. Have a great rest of your Saturday, everyone. See you back here next time for another edition of The Morning Show with Riley King. Goodbye, everyone.